Marigold flowers are a fun way to decorate for fall. This is Risa Kerbal Creative, and I'm going to teach you how to make them with a free pattern included in the link in the description. We start with one shape, put some glue in the middle, fold it in half, and do that again. And we will repeat this 6 times. So you have a shape, you put a little bit of glue in the center, fold it over, put a little bit more glue in the center again, and fold it over. And I like to clip it with these sewing clips. They're binding clips on Amazon for really cheap, and they just hold it so you don't have to hold the flower petals yourself and wait for the glue to dry. It really speeds up the process when making a bunch of flowers that require these steps like these do, and they'll be nice and full once we put all of these shapes together. Once we're finished with that step, we take this circle and we're going to put glue along the circle and then arrange 4 of the shapes. Now there's a folded side and more of the open side, and I am alternating to where the folded matches up with the open, and that kind of gives us just even flower without any gaps. And I do the same when I glue 2 centers flat together. I kind of make sure that the one folded and one open are on the same side. Then I cut off the bottom tip and put glue in the center, and I will just nestle this center piece right down in the middle of the flower, kind of at an angle, so that we have all of those gaps filled in and we have a really pretty ruffled marigold flower. And this pattern is available for free. I also have a back for it and some leaves, as well as another style that I'll show you. But I wanted to quickly show you how I add some shading. This is an eyeshadow palette, and I tried it out, tested it out, and I didn't like how it was showing up, so I decided to use pan pastels and a foam like makeup wedge instead. That gave me the look that I wanted, just a little bit more. So you can test out whenever you're using shading, eyeshadow or pan pastels, and just kind of test it on a scrap piece of felt and make sure you like it before trying it on your petals. And for these flowers, I wanted to just do an orange around the edge. You can also do it on both sides, because once you fold, you will see both sides. So if you want it everywhere, make sure and do both sides of the flower, but I just did one for time's sake, and I wanted to also just have some dimension that way. I seal it with this simple hairspray. It's just Rave unscented hairspray, and then when I do glue it, I turn it over the back because I want the shaded side to be folded out. Now, like I said, some of these scallops that show will not be shaded, but it adds dimension, meaning that it just kind of makes it pop a little bit better. So you can decide if that's something you might like to try. It's a totally optional step, but I also like to share just ways to kind of add a little extra something to your felt flowers. And as we arrange these around the center, you'll kind of get to enjoy just how that looks and see what you think. So this is the same assembly. Just like to show it again because I know seeing it several times can really help us as we practice felt flowers. And I also want to encourage you that there is no better way to get better at making felt flowers than to practice. It's the process itself where you learn. So the first time you try it may not turn out like you want it to, but it's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's just because it takes some practice. So this is a different scalloped shape that creates a little bit different look of the marigold flower. And if you like this one, this is also available for free. So it's kind of whatever you prefer. The assembly is exactly the same, and gives us a really fun, just felt flower to finish and build a bouquet or wreath or whatever you want to do while decorating your home or giving these as gifts. So here is that style, and we can add it to a stem. This is an 18 gauge floral wire that I'm using small pliers to twist into a spiral. Once I get that spiral started, then I use my fingers to finish rolling up that spiral, and I just want a circle that's big enough to hold the base of my marigold flower. I will twist it and then bring that down the center. So you just kind of pinch it and bring it down the center where it goes out the middle of that circle. Put some glue on the flower and just hold that stem there. Then this is the back of the flower that I use to cover the wire and just to give it a finished look. So I add some hot glue to the back of the flower and then bring the petal leaf greenery back up behind that flower, and we can just ruffle those petals, get them how we like, and we are finished with this flower. Now for the leaves, I sprayed these with hairspray. This is an optional step. This leaf pattern is also included, but to add a little bit of extra something, I want to show you this fun tool, which is a Clover mini iron, and I have it linked below. It's a simple tool that I use to add heat and dimension to my felt flowers sometimes and leaves. You can tell it just makes a really big difference and is fun to try. If it curls up too much, you can iron the back, which is what I was doing. So this is a 22 gauge wire that twists around the main 18 gauge wire. Put a little bit of hot glue at the bottom and then pinch that around the main wire and then around each of the smaller wires as well. And if glue oozes out, all you have to do is just trim that off with some scissors. So just a little bit of glue, and you do want to be careful not to use too much so that you don't burn your fingers or have too much glue showing. And also the other thing that I like to remember is to hold it long enough to where it doesn't pop back open. That makes sure that the glue has really time to harden onto that wire, and the wire is attached to the leaf with the hot glue all the way. So just trim off any excess and just arrange these however you want them. You can twist them around if they're too long again, but it's a really pretty backdrop for the flower and makes for a beautiful bouquet with whatever of these patterns you want to use in whatever way you enjoy. I hope you like these flowers. Thanks so much.